interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We interrupt our regularly scheduled vacation to come back with some breaking news out of Vikings land today. But before we get to that, not only do we have a special show tonight, we have a special guest with us. To my lower right on the screen down there, the great Drew Bunting is joining us tonight, formerly of Vikings Report with Drew and Ted, contributor to Two Old Bloggers, draft guru, and all around, et cetera, knowledgeable Vikings fan. Welcome. Good evening, Drew. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on here, you guys. I love this show. What are you guys going on almost 5 years now? And I've been there since week 1, March 2021, right? Am I right?
We'll finish off our 5th year right before the free agency starts in March and start into year 6. So
fantastic. Still to this day, the best opening in any show the Vikings have had, any Viking show for the last 5 years. That opening is tremendous with Del Rio with the bloody pants and the miracle and Sir Francis. And my favorite clip of all you guys run is that juke that Foreman puts on Dave Elmendorf. I love that juke against the Rams when he gets the game. It's the greatest opening. You guys pieced that together perfectly.
You got to have the mix of the historical and the current on there. So
isn't it just great how you can look at those plays and it just kind of brings you back to that day, or
every time I watch your show, I'm like fired up by the time the show starts because I love all those clips. I mean, it's like so well done. Very well done. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Norris, yes. Studwell, not Del Rio, yeah.
Oh, Studwell. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said Studwell. Thank you for correcting me on that. Yes, Studwell.
Good evening.
Oh, she might be the GM, the next GM, if you ask me.
That would be fucking fantastic. I would love that as a hire.
I would, but he's in his 70s now. Does he want to do anything like that? I don't know, but
it's Studwell.
It is, yeah.
We need a football guy in here, though. I would love to get just a pure football guy at GM. That's what we're here for tonight, right? Was something happened today?
Yeah, something happened today. Apparently, we started off the morning. Drew, you don't follow the Twins a whole lot, I know, but woke up this morning to find out that the Twins and their general manager, Derek Falvey, had mutually agreed to part ways. So it was a good day for Minnesota sports fans. And then just before lunchtime, the news rolls out that the Minnesota Vikings, in fact, did part ways with general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa.
What? That happened?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you didn't fucking know because you didn't get up until 3 o'clock.
I'm just here, man. I'm just here.
I'm sitting there texting Lance. Hey, we got to do it. We got to do an emergency show tonight. And I'm sitting here, 1:30, nothing.
Wake the fuck up.
Nothing. Like, finally text him. I'm like, wake the fuck up.
Yeah, dude. I slept until like 3:30 this afternoon.
I'm sitting here working on my running backs for release on Monday. With the running backs as the next position, all the draft guys. I'm working on my draft running backs, and I go to the computer and I say, some guy was arrested for having sex with a vacuum, And then the next
Well, what? No, hold on.
No, I seen. That's what I seen. I don't know if you guys seen it, but
I did. That's why I laughed.
I didn't see that one.
And then my next thing was that there's Kwesi got fired, and I'm looking at Ruby, and I go, it's just because everything you see now, you got to question, Lance. You don't trust the first thing you see anymore, especially Viking news is always all over the road. It is all over the road. So you have to like double confirm or whatever. I saw the vacuum guy, and then I saw Kwesi, and I thought I better stop doing the running backs. I better stop looking at running backs. Maybe get on the line here and find out what's going on. But yeah, really huge move for the Vikings. I mean, vacuum thing's true, Lance or Brian. True.
Yeah. I don't doubt it.
At least it wasn't Vikings related.
Yeah, it was.
Addison, what are you doing? Jordan Addison, what are you doing?
Well, it was his birthday a couple of days ago, so yeah, if he was doing something with a vacuum cleaner, I mean.
He's catching balls somehow.
I'm not even kidding you. That's what I saw.
Learn how to catch balls.
I don't want to know what your browser history is, Drew, but that's fine. We can talk about that at a different time.
You know what? Nobody does. Not the police force. Nobody. They don't want to look at my browser history.
Oh, so I guess my first question, Drew, what the hell took so long? The Vikings haven't played a game in a month. They send
the Vikings' way for the past 4 years, just one step behind.
They send Kwesi down to Mobile to the Senior Bowl this week.
Yeah, that's weird.
And then all of a sudden on Friday when he comes back, the key card doesn't work in the door.
Yeah, Kwesi's looking around when he goes to leave for Mobile, and he's like, "Hey, Kevin, what seat are you sitting in on the plane?"
Yeah,
and Kevin's like, "Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna make it down there this year. I got my kid's got a thing. I got to stay up here for that or something."
Being a Michigan fan, this doesn't surprise me. These shocker things that happen. But I was waiting for some intern thing. What happened? Did he hook up with some intern or something? I don't know. It's the Vikings, guys. It's always weird, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of wonder. He said some shit about Darnold yesterday in his press conference. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. I mean, but like you said, there was a meeting that took place too, so.
Yeah, the whole timing thing of sending him somewhere to like the Senior Bowl, that's not right.
Yeah.
So something happened, and we haven't caught wind of it yet. We'll probably catch wind of it, Lance, and Ryan, but I don't know. There's a lot to dive into it.
Why am I the only one here? Why am I the only one at the Senior Bowl? Why isn't anybody else here? I'm sure that's what Kwesi was thinking.
I would assume there were some scouts there too, but yeah, he, as far as the coaches and stuff go, I don't.
Kwesi, you need to call the shop right now.
Yeah.
Really badly.
Yeah,
I don't know. Where do you start with this? How do you unpack it? You guys tell me.
I mean, to me, this
better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, doing it now. I mean, the draft is 6 weeks away. Free agency is 3 weeks away or a month away, whatever it is.
I like the way they're handling it without having a GM and letting KOC and Brzezinski and Flores kind of run the show through the draft. That's going to be what I think is going to be really interesting. Especially when free agency comes around as well.
What do you guys give me your little synopsis of what kind of job do you think Kwesi Adofo-Mensah did with this team?
I mean the draft. I mean that's going to be the thing that haunts him for the rest of his days that he does anything in football, especially that 2022 draft.
Right.
You ended up with Jalen Naylor out of that draft. And he was a sixth rounder, something like that? Fifth or sixth rounder?
I believe a fifth.
Fifth rounder. But everybody else out of that draft is no longer even with the team.
That's not good.
No. And
so it's mainly the draft. You have a problem.
Well, that's my biggest issue with him. The free agency stuff last year, he knocked it out of the park, or 2024. 2025, we had that whole, we're going all in here and we go buy all these expensive veterans, your Jonathan Allens, your Javon Hargraves, your Ryan Kelly's.
It felt a lot more like Moneyball this year than what it did last year, in my opinion. But just looking at stats and numbers and percentages, and you go and get the guys based off of that instead of going out and getting better guys, I guess is what you could say. But yeah, Kwesi I think he did the best he could given it was his first shot at a GM role in the NFL, and he kind of just stuck with the way he ran things, and that's how he went. I don't think he ever evolved as a GM or whatever. I mean, it's the same. It's repeat for the last 4 years with Kwesi. So
yeah. Okay, Doc's got a great comment here. Do we feel that KOC is safe after this? What do you think, Drew?
I think here's how I look at the KOC thing. I might look at it differently than other people because I know kind of where the guy's coming. He's a prototypical filibuster word salad type coach. I'm going to do what I can. He's trying to save his job. Brian Flores is a big part of why he wins games. He had to have him here. But you ever watch those crime shows when they arrest like 2 or 3 people, when they have them in the room and they're talking to them? Who gets the deal? The first guy who talks.
Yeah.
And I think KOC has kind of taken that route with the Wilfs by saying, he stepped forward first saying, this is the problem with this team, and kind of pulled the rug over Bensa and kind of ran the bus over him. But that's KOC's a smart guy. He knows to keep my job. Something's weird about this whole JJ McCarthy thing. I'm going to throw it all on him. But I know that I didn't see him pounding the table for Darnold either. I didn't. No. KOC was along with this like everybody else, but he was the first guy to speak up, so the first guy always gets the deal. So I think he saved his job in that sense, but I think he's a good head coach in certain aspects of his coaching, but I'm more worried about losing Durante Jones because when Brian Flores takes his team over in 2027, that was going to be my DC. That's what I wanted as DC. I don't know. I don't really. KOC's back. There's nobody else now. He can't push the blame towards anybody else. But I wasn't happy with Mensah as a GM, but I certainly don't want KOC coming out of this smelling like a rose because he was right in there with him. He was.
That's great. Yeah. That's a great take. Yeah, I mean, and as the future GM goes, like I said, I want a football guy. I want a guy that knows football through and through. So, and Kwesi just wasn't that guy. He just wasn't that guy. He was a numbers guy.
He's a bean counter.
We were taking a shot at the money ball at the NFL level, and it didn't work out. I want to go back to football. I want to get back to just good old gridiron, knowing the game, front office football.
There is one thing I'd like to say about the drafting, and I'd like to say this, and I'd like people to understand where I'm coming from on this. I think the drafting, Kwesi in the drafting it's obvious. He doesn't have a good record drafting. That said, he's gone. I think the next step is to pull all these son of a bitches in who say they're scouts for this team and sit them down one by one and do a audit of all these fucking guys because it's not just Kwesi. Kwesi goes by what he hears. Right. So the problem you think is the GM, get rid of the GM and the scouting will be fine. No, you have to take care of the reasons of why he was getting bad information. That's what I would like to see change.
The scouting. Go ahead, continue. I'm sorry, I jumped.
No. I was pretty much.
The scouting has been shit since Studwell left the front office. To be honest with you. The scouting has been crap since Studwell has gone.
I think they have to break it down and look at it, guys.
Yeah.
Because it's a scouting. Kwesi is an analytic guy. He went off somebody told him that Lewis Seen was the guy.
Right.
I think that now that Kwesi's gone, you can't blame him anymore. You have to round these guys up like Thor Nystrom said. Thor Nystrom called it an audit. If you watch Thor Nystrom, get all these scout guys together, have them sit down and do a resume and say, find out what the problem is. Because Kwesi you can get rid of him, but that's not the scouting problem. There's a problem in the scouting department.
Right.
And even though Mark Wilfslet says we got a bunch of smart guys with the scouting, you got a problem in there. Something's fucked up. You got to fix it.
Right, because that's where
there's leaks in a couple of different places, but yeah, scouting is definitely one of them. But I think there's leaks that need to be plugged by legitimate pluggers. You know, I mean, I think you could say the same thing with the player development has been horrible too in the last 5 to 8 years.
Yeah.
I'd agree.
Well, and the quarterback position's a prime example there. They brought in Josh McCown because Kevin O'Connell was convinced he was getting Drake May. And then whatever happened that that you hear the rumors that, yeah, we had a deal, and then Kwesi tried to get cute at the 11th hour and try to ask for some more picks back or something, and New England told him to go pound sand, or and you hear, no, they were never going to trade the pick, so we're probably never going to know the answer to that one. But and some of that on O'Connell, I think, being he didn't get the person he wanted, and then of course that the probably this other thing on Kwesi that was just thinking here, probably the thing that's even more of a death knell to him than what the draft has been is how he handled the quarterback situation last year. Because he was so convinced that Daniel Jones was going to stay that he didn't have a backup plan. And then when Daniel Jones I got a chance to win a starting job over here in Indy, Toodles. We're sitting there, all the decent backup quarterbacks had already been signed. Mac Jones was a free agent. He went and signed a contract to go back up Brock Purdy in San Francisco. You had a few other guys who were, serviceable quarterback. We let Nick Mullins go. Nick Mullins could have got this team to the playoffs this year. Playing when Brosmer was in there, or when Carson Wentz was in there with his arm falling off or stuff, that kind of stuff.
You know what? Hindsight's 2020. It really is.
It is.
Right now reflecting back on the biggest red flag was Kwesi dealing with the Lions in the draft, his first draft. And I mean, just his propensity to mess with picks where there shouldn't have been picks messed with. I mean, he was very didn't use a lot of brain power when it came to our draft picks in all aspects. Whether it be giving away draft picks for a player where you could have given away lower draft picks for the same guy if it was anybody else. I don't know.
A fourth and a fifth for 5 catches out of Adam Thielen this year. I mean,
that's a good example. Sam Howell.
The Adam Thielen thing, I think it was ownership. We're bringing him back. We don't care what anybody says. It's a good feeling thing for the fans. Yeah, good feeling. We want the fans. So the Wilfs can tell you what they want about Adam. That's their call. That had nothing to do with Kwesi. But you get Kwesi. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, because I'm glad he's gone, because I think he's an analytic guy. I don't think he's a player.
No, he's not. He's absolutely not.
Isolate, before we talk about the quarterbacks, I know you guys want to talk about the quarterback. Isolate the Lewis Cine thing. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah didn't know shit about Lewis Cine. No. Somebody filled his head about this trade thing. Lewis Cine, move up, whatever. Yeah. Lewis Cine was constructed by the scouting department and by talking heads with suits and ties telling them this is the guy you got to take. The problem with being the GM is that you're the face of the failure. You are the face of the failure.
Yeah.
No one else. He didn't know anything about Lewis Cine. Somebody told him. Told him to take Lewis Cine.
He took great points here tonight when it comes
to he is responsible. He's the GM. Yeah. Like with Zimmer, when me and Stefano used to argue about Mike Zimmer, I'd say he's the coach. He's responsible. He is responsible. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah is responsible in the end, but he's being fed information that Lewis Cine thing, he didn't know what to do. He did it.
Auditing the scouting department sounds like a great idea at this point. You need to take those guys from the scouting department and make sure that they know what the fuck they're doing and what they're looking for and what we want here as a Vikings organization on our 53-man roster.
Lance, if the scouting department doesn't change, does it matter if Mensah's in there or the next guy?
Whose ears are listening.
It doesn't matter who's in there. If the scouting department is fucked up.
I mean, all of us out here who do not get paid to do this. I mean, Kyle Hamilton was the consensus number 1 safety in that class on everybody's board, and he was there.
Somebody told him to do the Lewis Cine thing. Somebody told him to do it.
Well, here's the thing. Again, to Lance's point earlier, Kwesi is not a football guy. He doesn't know. I mean, he talked about that first draft. We were talking about this off air before we started. Kwesi talking about how he spent 20 hours sitting in a dark room watching film, found the guy that he had to have, and it was fucking a Caleb Evans. And then the shit he pulled this year with.
That's why I love this show. I love this show
with Max Brosmer, that fucking spiel that
Brock Purdy.
That he fed out. We didn't want him to go to the combine because we were afraid some other teams were going to get eyes on him, and he was our little secret, and he's good. Kwesi was on record as saying that ahead of that game, and then when he goes out there and completely shits all over himself. I mean,
well, look at how the decisions are made with this team. In 2019, if the Vikings went to that Saints game, the wild card game, Lance, remember that game with Rudolph caught the winning touchdown in overtime? If they didn't win that game, the ownership was going to fire Zimmer.
Yeah.
They win the game.
We're always one step late to the party.
No, they win that game, and they give him an extension. Is that any way to make decisions for a professional team?
Well, we just waited a month and a half
after the season to fire a coin. That's like flipping a coin. Okay, well, no, fire him. We'll let him. Come on.
Yeah, they're shaking the magic 8 ball, and it's like, should I fire him? And it's
right. We just sent Kwesi down to Mobile this last weekend by himself. This is something that should be taken like I said, better late than never. Like I said, at least he showed up to the party. But we're just letting Kwesi go now, a month after our season ended. Why? Why did we not do this sooner?
Yeah, after the top 3 or 4 GM candidates have already been hired this year or this cycle.
Well, you guys, in a week from Sunday, when Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl, you can't come out with this news the day after that. Imagine how that would look. Imagine how that would look.
Yeah, it looks bad enough now that it comes out a week after the fact that he's going to the Super Bowl. But
I mean, if they waited to see if Sam Darnold was going to the Super Bowl or not, and base that on their decision to fire Kwesi, that's not the right way to run things either.
No, it's not.
One of the big questions is how much is the Sam Darnold thing playing into all this firing?
Oh, I think there's definitely part of it.
I think it is because the Wilfs don't like being embarrassed. That's why they would rather be 10-7, 9-8 or whatever, and get in as a wild card than to be 4-13 and do a complete rebuild and, be suck for a year or two and then build for long-term success. That was that competitive rebuild bullshit that we've heard for the last 4 to 5 years.
Nice.
It's
I like that, Ant.
I can't disagree with that at all.
Well, and that's the thing, where Kwesi is not a football guy. He doesn't know what to look for in players or whatever. He, to your point earlier, Drew, he's relying on these other guys telling him what should be in there. Now, granted, you've got the coaches. You had supposedly McCardell pounding the table for Ty Felton. We spent a 3rd round draft pick on a gunner for this past year when we only had 5 picks to start with.
But the book's not closed on Felton.
No, it's not.
It's going to be. He has a chance.
They did make him look like a fool, sending him to the Senior Bowl to talk to other GMs and pink slip him when he got back.
I don't get that. I don't get that.
That's kind of a dick move. Just from my opinion.
That's why I think something else happened. Because you hear Mark Wilf. Mark Wilf has a. I know why Mark Wilf loves KOC now, because it's nothing but word salad in all these press conferences. You can't really gain anything by it. But I try to look. The Sam Darnold thing is. My question to you guys is, KOC is like trying to deflect everything about Darnold now.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep him. And that's all Kwesi. How much on board was KOC with the Darnold McCarthy thing? I mean, what play did he have in that, do you think?
I truly think I think he didn't think McCarthy was ready to go. I truly don't think it. I think at the end of the day, KOC wanted to keep McCarthy safe and actually literally have him sit another season behind a tested veteran.
So you think Mensa pounded the table and said, "I'm the GM. I want him to play." You think it's Mensa?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Well, and if back to the quarterback room thing, if Kwesi would have had a plan B for the backup quarterback position instead of sitting there waiting for everybody and then Jones leaving, they win probably at least one more game this year. They make the playoffs, and Kwesi keeps his job another year. If they'd have made the playoffs, Kwesi wouldn't have got fired, I don't think, even if they would have went one and done.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Not that KOC's play calling helped out McCarthy in any way for the majority of the season either, though.
You know what? I keep, maybe this is me being a fan since the 70s, but I've always believed in what the old, remember Marv Levy for the Bills? Marv Levy used to say, you know who's going to play quarterback? The guy I want to play quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the GM is the GM, but I feel like Mensa was a puppet. He was going to do whatever I think KOC wanted JJ McCarthy to play. I disagree, Lance. I think when it comes to a power struggle between Mensa saying McCarthy's going to start, I'm the GM, pounding his fist, I think KOC wins that power struggle. That's why
I like what you're saying. I believe at the end of the day, they need to let the head coach the team,
Right. That's why I think it's bullshit if KOC says I never wanted to play him. That's bullshit. You made the call. That's what irritates me about this whole thing. Mensa's gone, but KOC like skates into this whole
thing. Easy.
Well,
it's easy for him to say.
The revisionist history stuff is going on here because they can say whatever they want now that, I didn't think he was ready, or,
right.
We actually wanted to keep Darnold another year, or
right.
But again, it falls back to if they'd have had a legitimate backup quarterback. I mean, take McCarthy's injuries and all this other stuff out of here. Who the hell goes into a season with a 22-year-old quarterback who's never started in the NFL before, and your backup quarterback is an undrafted rookie? I mean, we know that KOC didn't want Sam Howell. That was a Kwesi thing. He went and grabbed him just because we didn't have a quarterback, and he panicked. And then we found out Sam Howell couldn't.
To reinforce your opinion there, Drew, on the whole JJ McCarthy being ready or not. If KOC didn't think McCarthy was ready, don't you think he would have played him more in the preseason?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Why did he play 2 series in the preseason? Yeah,
damn it, that's a great point. Lance gets a great point of the night award.
Even though I'm contradicting what I just said 5 minutes ago, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
No. That's why we talk about stuff, to see each other's opinions and change opinions. That's what literate professional talking about football is. I mean, that's why we discuss these things. But I have a hard time sitting here, as I talked with Tunes earlier today about KOC didn't want to play JJ. I never heard any of that shit during the season. I heard he was the guy. And I don't want to hear it now. I don't like the change of opinion, Rhino. I don't like the change.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
He's the head coach, guys.
Even with the Rodgers rumors going on, it was always McCarthy is the guy. He's going to be the starter going into the season.
Right. So I don't think it's Mensa saying you're going to play this. I don't think that was it at all. I don't think, because Mensa, let's face it, this organization, he was the puppet. He was getting driven down by that's why all this happened. So KOC and Brian Flores, and they could take the team over in terms of personnel. We're going to pick the draft. KOC's been telling the owners, if you want to succeed at this, let me pick the free agents. Let me football. I'm the football guy.
That's the way I'd want it if I was coaching these guys. I wouldn't want to be running everything, but that's me.
I don't throw Kwesi Adolfo Benza under the bus for the JJ McCarthy thing at all, because the head coach.
I don't think I do. I don't think so either. But
huge saying on this. He has a huge saying about. And you know what? McCarthy's not done, guys. 10 starts. He's not done.
No,
he's not done at all. McCarthy's going to come back and win the job. And like I said in a post earlier on Gallahorn, he's going to win the job, win a bunch of games, and get us to the playoffs. And all this other smoke will be smoke.
I just
that's when he has his coming out party.
I just thought about something here when we're talking about whether or not what KOC had in here. Remember, year or so back or so that KOC was out there talking, and he was talking about how they gave him the nickname the quarterback killer in the front office because he kept vetoing all the quarterbacks that Kwesi or whoever supposedly wanted to go get or draft. The Will Levis thing that Kwesi apparently wanted to draft him, and KOC told him no like 3 times, all this stuff. So how do we go from that to, oh, Kwesi made me play McCarthy before I thought he was ready?
Right. Who orchestrated the Sam Howell trade? Who told Kwesi and the Wilfs to get Sam Howell? Who did that?
I don't think it was O'Connell because O'Connell didn't like Howell from the get-go.
I think that was a Kwesi call, to be honest.
I think it was too. I think that one was a Kwesi panicked. He's like, oh, hey, I just went and got us a backup quarterback here.
So Kwesi made a move on the most important position in football, which is the quarterback. Kwesi went and did it without talking to KOC, who was a quarterback in his own day. Who's the quarterback?
It might have been one of those banter things in the draft room where Kwesi's like, well, we need a backup. What do you think about Sam Howell if we do this or that? And KOC's like, okay. And Kwesi
this is probably the best we can do right now is go throw a late round pick at Sam Howell and see what, because we expect McCarthy to start and play the whole season, so he probably won't play anyway. So.
They expect McCarthy to start and play the entire season without injuries.
I think Mensa defers to the quarterback, to KOC, and said, who do you like on this free agent list? Who do you think we should trade for? KOC says, I like Sam Howell. They go get Sam Howell. He comes in. He's a fucking disaster. And then he's shipped out. Mensa gets fired, and all of a sudden Mensa was the guy who picked Sam Howell. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible.
Anyways, Steven's got a great question in here I just seen.
Okay.
Do you think the resigning of Flores had a part in this decision? Maybe Flores knew ahead of time that Mensa was out.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Flo, if you come back, you're going to have personnel say on defense for the draft this year because, we're
and if they can do this backhanded shit to Kwesi, who's to say they can't do this backhanded shit to KOC to say, hey, if KOC doesn't do the greatest in the season, we're looking right at you, guy.
That's a good point. That's a good point. No, that's a great question. That's a great question.
Problem is, all that shit like that does is start seeding dissent among the ranks, and then you do.
That's not good. That's not good culture right there.
No.
Everybody talking shit behind each other's backs in the organization, making little false promises like they do to their fans.
If anything, the GM's out. This is going to be the coaches. The coaches will be picking free agency. The coaches will be picking the draft. The coaches will be picking the roster. The coaches will be making the decisions. Brzezinski's just the guy that's going to say.
Brzezinski's the OG. He's just been there for how long?
And he's really respected. Great guy, great individual, but he's not going to override KOC or Florida.
No.
He's just going to say. So this will be, guys, what if they come out next year and just start kicking people's asses with this? Everybody else is going to copy them. Let's fire our GM and let the coaches take over.
Kwesi's sitting in his recliner in his underwear with a beer in his hand watching the game.
Son of a bitch.
It's certainly interesting in a way where because didn't they say they're not going to hire a GM till after the draft, right?
Yeah, Brzezinski's going to handle the GM duties through free agency in the draft, they said.
I'd be okay. I mean, they said they're going to do their due diligence to go and get the right guy, but I'd be willing to take a look at this whole letting the coaches.
I'm agreeing.
On the show.
Yeah.
I raise my hand and say, yes, Lance, I am in agreement. Why not?
Right. Let Flo and KO, if they could be cohesive together like that and see eye to eye, let those three guys. We've done it before here in Minnesota with what was it, the triangle of power between
the isosceles of ineptitude. Yeah.
Between Childress and Spielman and who else was it?
It was Brzezinski was the third one. Yeah.
Yeah, there was the triangle of guys that kind of ran the show.
But I don't think there's a triangle though. There's Flores and KOC, and then there's Brzezinski. So what's lesser of a triangle?
Right. That to me is a perfect equation. You're getting that way the guys can be held accountable. You know,
Yeah, there's no triangle. There's only two sides to it. What's that? Isosceles?
It's a line.
the acute triangle.
Acute. I saw acute. Whatever it is. I'm with Lance. Let the fucking coaches choose the players.
Right.
Because this drafts haven't worked for 3 years, Rhino. They have.
No, they absolutely have not.
And then you know what? That co head coach title actually has a little bit of substance to it then too. Because in all reality, KOC and Flores are the ones running the show.
Right.
Even though KOC is the question head coach, but Flores is that co-head coach title actually means something in this case.
My question with these two, if these two running the draft, what's going to happen when we come down to pick 18 and there's a
defensive guy and an offensive guy?
Yeah, there's a defensive guy, a Peter Woods or some,
That's when you stick to your board.
Great defensive tackle that would do this team really good, or there's a wide receiver that KOC wants to take because they shipped Jordan Addison off because he's a dumbass.
Well, let me clarify, Rhino. Is it KOC and Brian Flores talking between themselves, or are you talking about these scouting guys?
I think you let Brian
scouting guys.
No, I'm talking about the two coaches because those two are ultimately going to decide on who KOC is going to decide who he wants for offense.
This is where the triangle comes in, Drew. This is where the triangle comes in. This is where Brzezinski finishes that triangle and he gets the final say on who's getting the call.
Okay.
If it comes to that point to where they're button heads on the draft pick, then Brzezinski makes the final call.
But we've only got 7 minutes. We can't lock them in a room and have them fight it out till they.
That's why you run fucking 180 simulations before the draft starts.
As long as the scouting people are like held under the gun the last month, like
yeah,
no rock paper scissors for it.
You gotta sit those guys down and figure out, because there's a problem with the drafting, with the scouting. It's not Kwesi. He was the guy. He's the face of who they drafted, but he wasn't the problem.
Scouting.
You've got these scouts that are telling them, "Hey, this guy can play," and obviously he can't.
So if you don't break down the scouting problem and find the problem, then the GM really wasn't the problem. Because if he's being told these guys, Lewis Seen, all these, Kellen Mond, was that before? That was Zimmer.
That was Spielman.
You know all the draft picks he made. Rhino mentioned it earlier, the 2022 draft. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah isn't a football guy. He's an analytic guy.
Yep.
So I'm all for getting rid of the GM, but you better goddamn look at the scouting guys and break down however they need to do it. Find out what's going on with those guys, because that's where the problem.
And I think that's why eventually they are going to bring in a general manager to at least oversee those guys. I still think I think this whole thing was a power move by KOC, and he's going to have, most of the control over 53-man roster. But you got to be able to have some guy in as the GM, whether it's a figurehead or whatever, that can keep these scouts in line and know enough about college players to be able to look at him and say, "What the fuck are you guys seeing in this guy? He's an idiot. He can't play." Or, this guy over here. Oh yeah, this guy is going to be really good. Let's put him on the board.
Well, most of the old school guys, the old school head coaches, they did have scouting people, probably a lot less than they have now. I think now they have like 35 guys. Back then they had like 7 or 8 back in the 70s, 80s when Warren Moon, all that was happening. I think the difference is now, and I think Kwesi could have helped with this, was you have your scouting guys, and then you have another tier right around you of scouting guys who can filter.
Like 3 or 4 guys?
Yeah, you filter what these guys bring to you. You filter it before it gets to you. Guys that you really trust, and that will say,
you got
this scouting guy wanted this corner. He sucks. This Andrew Booth, this guy wanted Andrew Booth. He sucks. Don't get him. Another ring of protection around the GM. I think old school guys had that. They had 3 or 4 guys they would go to. Gil Brandt was big on this. Gil Brandt with the Cowboys. He would listen to his scouts, and then as they filtered up players, he would take his inner circle and say, What do you think of this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy? And they would filter it out to bring it down to the guys that Gil Brandt actually would think about taking. And I don't know if the Vikings have that, but I think that's important.
I don't know that the Vikings have had that since Jim Finks, to be honest with you. But
yes, that is crucial. But
I'm gonna let you knock this one out quick, Rhino. Not that.
It's crucial to have that. You got to have that. You got to have that extra layer before it gets to you. And I don't think Kwesi had that. He had some bunch of scouts telling him, "Take Lewis Seen." Okay. I mean,
yeah,
you gotta have a GM that knows about football, like Lance talks about. You gotta first off, the guy has to eat, drink, and sleep football. First off, your GM has to be so into football he got kicked out of the house by his wife to live in the snow because he loves football too much. That's the guy you gotta have. So
and I think a lot of that, a lot of these older school guys that are really good at that were players at one point in time too.
Right.
Closest Kwesi ever got to playing football, I think, was probably Madden.
You gotta. When it comes, the draft is so important, guys. It's so important.
It is.
It's huge.
In this day and age, you build your team through the draft.
Yes.
So
you do.
Well, that's we've shown that the last 3 years. Now it's this past year it came back to bite us because we had to go buy a bunch of old expensive veterans because we weren't able to get anybody out of the 2022 or 2023 drafts that we could develop that would be able to start taking over. The Vikings were the 5th oldest team in the league this year.
I think we're like the 4th most winningest team in the NFL long term. So
where do they sit with cap right now? 30th?
They are 31st right now. But before the rollover, which they got 15.8 that rolls over. But before the rollover, they are right now, I think, at 58 million over the cap or something like that. So we'll be about when that rolls over, we'll be about 33 over.
Well, let's hit this quick because I know a lot of people are wondering about this too about Grigson. I think we just need to let him. I think he needs to be the next guy to go.
Grigson should have been let go Grigson should have been let go, or he should have never been hired, honestly. But
he's not going to be the GM of this team.
God, I hope not.
No, I don't. I do not foresee that happening at all. I like I said, if we're going to do that, we might as well just stick with the KOC and Flores and Brzezinski triangle.
If Grigson becomes GM of this team, I'm going to box up all my fucking shit and send it back to Minnesota, and I'm done.
There you go.
Well,
done.
Done. Just to remind everybody, Ryan Grigson is the guy that got Andrew Luck to retire because he couldn't draft players and Luck got sick of getting killed.
He doesn't know anything.
No.
I'm shocked he's here. Why is he here?
Why is he still here? I mean, why was he here the first time? I don't understand that either, but why does he still have a job?
I like this comment too. I mean, if you want to develop guys and there's an opening come game week, why was Rouse scratched? Being a healthy scratch, and you pop in school when Rouse could have benefited from the snaps that school was getting. I don't understand that either. When school was a heaping pile of fucking garbage, why can't you pop Rouse in there to help him develop a little bit along the way and see what you got in the guy?
Cool, Papa Bell. Great question.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, Purple Pain, you're absolutely right. But
let's take questions. Anybody have any?
Yeah, what do we got going on in the?
Let's talk chat.
Who do y'all want to see in the first round this year for the first pick? What do you want to see in free agency? What do you guys want to see out of free agency?
That's a very good question. I haven't looked at the free agency stuff a whole lot
What
yet.
are some positions that you think that we should be looking at come free agency?
And since we're talking free agency, people talk about Kwesi, great free agency guy. It's pretty simple to pick free agency guys.
Right.
You look at Van Ginkel with Miami. You watch him tape about 5 minutes, and that's a guy I'd like to have on my team. You watch Grenard with Texans. You watch Cashman with the Texans. Oh, those are guys that could be pretty good for our team. I mean, it's not rocket science to pick fucking free agent guys.
No,
So,
it's a lot easier to pick an established veteran than it is to pick somebody in the draft.
Right.
And I can't praise Brzezinski enough either with these contracts, the way he writes them up and the way that we're able to get out of them, which is going to go a long way this free agency as well.
I want to say a quick word about Brzezinski because I've been following this guy's career for 25, 30 years. Brzezinski has been offered big, big, big money to leave this team and go somewhere else. And he doesn't do it because he wants his family to be here.
I love that guy.
He wants his family to be solid, his family to be happy, his family to be here. And he likes like what's it, like conformity. He likes basic stuff to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
A guy that doesn't care about money. He cares about his family and being solid, and he gets enough money. And that's
Even
the
more
guy.
reasonable than that guy.
That's something you don't see in sports. Brzezinski, I hope Brzezinski plays this into a GM spot. And I know that's really far-fetched because he's not a GM, but Brzezinski is the guy. He is the guy you want to lean behind, you want to get behind. I'm telling you,
And he's got that history here. He's he's been here for so fucking long.
He's just got a great personality about himself.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I like Brzezinski at GM, but I'd like for him to stick to the books too when it comes to the contract negotiations. I like that as well. He does such a damn good job there. I'd hate to see him lose that aspect.
Yeah. I have heard some stuff though that Brzezinski doesn't really want a GM job. He's happy with what he does.
Which plays into what I just said.
Right.
He's a normal guy who just wants to not rock the boat. He wants to do but he's the best at what he does. He was offered triple money to leave here like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
He didn't take it because he said, my family and my kids having friends here, that's more important than the money you want to offer me in fucking Cleveland. I want to stay here.
It comes down to like the everyday working man mentality too. Either you go to work and you either want to stay there's always those supervisor positions that open up and you get offered. Do you want to step into that new role as a supervisor or do you want to just stick around as a guy that knows what he's doing already with what he has?
Yeah.
Right. Right. And I think that element is lost with a lot of people. I think it is. I think it's lost with people that just want to, I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm fine.
That's me. I'm that type of guy. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. If I get offered the supervisor position at my job, I'm sticking with what I know. I don't want to make that step up because I don't want that responsibility. I don't want that responsibility on my shoulders.
I trust Rob Brzezinski in this franchise more than I trust anybody else, even the owners.
Yeah.
Well, considering the longevity of how long he's been here, he's been here just as long as the owners have, I believe. So
sure. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it? When did he come? Wasn't it like 08, 09, somewhere in there, or was it before that? It would have been before that because he was part of the initial triangle.
He was part of the Adrian Peterson business too, and Peterson was drafted in 07. So I mean,
right. So it must have been 06 around 06 when the Wilfs came in. Yeah.
But he's got the right outlook on how things should be. He's a really good human being.
This is a Spielman pick there, buddy.
Yep.
Okay,
Rick didn't have the GM title that year, but he was the one making the final 53 decisions.
Rob B drafted Ponder? What?
No, it was Spielman.
It was Spielman. It wasn't Brzezinski.
Come on.
Another thing going on here. You know how we talked about if it came down to the draft? This year would have been a great example if it was KOC and Flores running the show. You get to that pick, would it have been Emanwari or would it have been Jackson? If it was, Emanwari is balling out this year in Seattle, by the way, at safety. Another safety we missed on that.
Then there was what was it, third round or wherever it was when
with Xavier Watts.
Xavier Watts, who went, I've been told by many people that the Vikings were taking Xavier Watts, and then Atlanta jumped him and picked him one pick ahead of him. If you wanted him that bad and it got that close, why didn't you move up a spot?
1999 Rhino.
Okay.
Brzezinski's been here since. That's telling you a lot. That's back almost shortly after I started watching this team play. Started watching in 95.
Okay. Let me ask you guys this. 1999, 2009, 19. what's that? 26 years.
36 years.
You're 36 years.
36. Okay, 36 years. Look at why would they keep one guy from all the regime changes for 36 years? There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes through Denny Green, that goes through Tice, that goes through Frazier, that goes through Childress, that goes through Zimmer,
Right.
and now into Kevin O'Connell.
And that tells you that's a guy, Lance and Ryan, that you look at the guy and say, we're not going to fire that guy.
No.
I mean, that guy does his job really well. So to be able, how NFL is, Lance, they fire everybody. They fire them all.
No patience.
No. And he's made it through what, 30? He's made it
36 years.
What does that say about the guy? That means
27 years. Sorry. Yeah. Ryan's right here because 30 years would make it 2029. So yeah.
Still,
yeah.
The way modern football is today, that's crazy.
30 years.
He is.
Yeah, nobody lasts that long in the NFL anymore.
When I saw Brzezinski was named, he's going to run the team I was stoked. For as many things you can't be stoked about with this Viking season, I was stoked to see that. That's a guy I trust because
he's a fucking wizard. I've always called him the wizard. He makes it work. I mean, manipulating that salary cap, and
he doesn't have all this bullshit motives. He's just a family guy. That's a guy I want running the team. Yeah. The guy that cares more about come on. Crazy.
All right. So I went and did a little GM candidate research here.
Here we go.
So I got a list of names, and I'll let you guys comment on if you know anything about them or what you thought would be about them. First guy off, Ed Dodds, assistant GM over in Indianapolis. This is the guy that I wanted when we hired Kwesi.
Yeah,
but he he's a former Seattle Seahawks guy. He was there, helped to build the Legion of Boom, the Super Bowl teams, all that stuff. Then he went from there to Indianapolis, and he's been assistant GM there now for 3-4 years, whatever it is.
Okay.
And he's relatively young. He's still only like 45, 46 years old. So he's not some old crusty curmudgeon either. He's young enough to.
Wait. Crusty curmudgeon. I have to speak up about crusty curmudgeon. That's kind of me.
All right. Here's a name that hasn't been talked about a lot, but it's a guy I did a little research on today that kind of piqued my interest a little bit since, John Schneider up in Seattle has been, one of the better GMs over the last several years.
The best GM.
His assistant GM, Nolan Teasley, he's been the assistant general manager for the Seahawks since 2023. He's been Schneider's right-hand man, overseeing football operations, roster construction, drafting, and scouting. Been with the Seahawks since 2013.
I could look into that.
And he's another guy. He's in that 40-ish range, somewhere in there.
Yeah, either one of those guys sounds pretty decent.
Okay, next guy here. You guys should know this one. Ray Agnew, assistant GM with the Detroit Lions.
That's a no from me.
I've heard of him.
That's a no from me.
Former player, been director of pro personnel for the Rams, so there's a tie in there. And he's been assistant GM with the Lions since 2021. Helped build the teams that have gone from dumpster fire to at least respectable.
I'd have to say no. I mean, I do like this. I do like the fact that he did play the game, so it makes him a football guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the way that Seattle. I like the Seattle guy a lot because I like what I've seen out of Seattle for the last 15 years, as far as staying in the mix and just continuing to draft good players and build good teams. Yeah. So I like the guy out of Seattle a lot at this point. It'd be the Seattle guy, then the Indy guy, and then this Lions guy for me so far.
Okay. Fourth guy, George Kokinis, vice president of player personnel with the Ravens. Been been a scout for the Ravens for many years. Was actually general manager in Cleveland for about half of the 2009 season. Then they went 1-7, and they fired him. But then he's been back with the Ravens ever since, and has been, working with, that front office over there. So
I don't know. I put him right down there with the Lions guy too. I want to see some like Anthony just said, somebody from a well-run organization, somebody that hasn't been around.
Okay. Speaking of well-run organizations, here's your next one. Assistant general manager for the Eagles, Alec Hallaby. He's a younger kid. He's 39 years old, been with the Eagles since 2007, but he's been kind of Howie Roseman's right-hand man up there.
That'd be okay. I'd look at him.
You spend 18 years with a guy like Howie Roseman.
Yeah.
You're going to learn a few things there.
Right.
Howie, that seems kind of impressive off the chalk with me. It's you're going to work under guys that you're going to learn their traits.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for that many years, and then being allowed to let your fucking wings spread. I like that. Howie
Roseman is a great.
Yes, he's a name that is very recognizable.
So I would seriously look at that guy.
Yes.
Okay, and then I got one more. John McKay, the assistant general manager of the Rams right now. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say this is going to be the guy because he's a member of the KOC clubhouse.
Right.
He was
right
in LA when KOC was there. About same age. He's been with the Rams for 10 years, director of pro personnel, assistant director of scouting, and now he's assistant GM. But if you want somebody just to come in and have to be the figurehead general manager and still basically giving KOC 53-man roster control, this is your guy right there.
He's probably got the upper hand over everything you just said, because KOC can't let go of the Rams connection. He can't.
No, he can't.
That's why he can't beat Sean McVay. He can't, because if he feels too bad about, I can't beat my old boss. You know what? He played that Rams game. He got 2 touchdowns on his first 2 offensive possessions and then changed because he wants to. He can't.
Great comment by Norse here. You can't ever let the coach. Yeah, Ryan already tapped on it. You can't let the coach pick a GM. This has got to come down to management.
But they are.
North is right. North, and that shocked me earlier. Why are we going to let the coach pick the GM?
Yeah, he is absolutely right on that. But that was one of the few things that I did glean out of that Mark Wilf press conference today, that he said Kevin O'Connell would have say in who the next general manager is going to be.
Does that seem right to you guys?
No. Like I said, that to me means that Kevin O'Connell is going to be the de facto GM. You're just going to have somebody in there as a figurehead to kind of liaison between the scouting department and the head coach.
Let me tell you,
got to gloss over everything here and then just give us some fucking ass backwards type of answer to what's going on.
Yeah, it's like I'll go ahead and pick a guy who agrees with you. That's the only
right. What the fuck is logic? Is that?
I don't like that logic, Lance, at all. I think you bring a GM in that says, "You guys do what you want, but my fucking ass is calling the shots."
Yeah, I like that. The Howie Roseman guy is number 1 on my list, and that the Agnew is probably number 3, and then the guy from Seattle's at number 2.
The guy from Seattle, he's been there for 13 years. I mean, that tells you something right there.
I like that continuity factor too. So that and somebody that's finally gonna be able to spread their wings and show what they got. And that's ready, that's hungry, that wants to prove that they could be that guy.
Well, look what happened. We had George Payton here for how long under Rick Spielman, and he goes to
Denver.
Has a couple of shaky first years, but then now they were a broken ankle on their quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl this year.
What's kind of funny is we talked about Ryan Poles. Remember 2 years ago, Ryan Poles is a piece of shit.
Right.
We got the right guy. And then now you look at it, people are saying we should have got Ryan.
I was thinking about the same thing about 15 minutes ago. I was thinking the same thing. Yes.
But the the thing with polls is, and I'm convinced of this, I don't have it for fact, but Poles came in and told the Wilfs that, how he wanted to do it, which is how he ended up doing it in Chicago. And, to my earlier point, the Wilfs didn't want to tear it down to the studs because they are so scared about being bad.
Right.
That they would rather settle for mediocrity, get into the playoffs, and then, anything can happen in the playoffs. Yeah, unless you're the Vikings, because unless you live under a rock, that the Vikings are not going to get lucky and ride that wave all the way.
Well, Wilf said the GM that we hire will be a collaborative guy. It's not going to be a guy with the iron fist, like, I have the last call. He's not going to do that. He already announced that's the only thing I could get out of that press conference that meant shit.
Yeah, it's going to be another kumbaya guy, and that's why the McKay kid with the Rams he makes perfect sense to this. As much as I don't want another member of the KOC clubhouse here, but
can the Vikings win a Super Bowl with Kevin O'Connell as head coach? I'll sit back and take your answer.
He's got to win a playoff game first. That's just it. He's got to get over that playoff game hump. He's got to show that. He's got to pull a Sam Darnold next year and prove that he can.
I'm not talking about that, Lance. Can he win a Super Bowl? That's what I want to know. Can he win the big game? It's all about the big game. Nobody gives a shit.
I think he can. I think he can. He can.
2 years ago, I said absolutely yes. I'm not so sure now, because we saw, when we talked about with the McCarthy thing this year, and even when Wentz was playing in that Cleveland game, when he had to go away from his deep passing, air raid style, whatever you want to call it, offense, and had to run the ball, he was almost crying at his post-game press conference. They won the fucking game, and he's just despondent and down in the dumps and, crying in his freaking beer because he had to run the ball more than 12 times.
That's just it. If he could change and evolve his philosophy, he can win a Super Bowl. It just comes down to whether or not he quits being stubborn, because he can make a good game plan. We've all seen it. We've all seen him have a good game plan before.
Lance, like me, I imagine you have certain, Lance, I want to ask you directly, what do you see if it aligns with what I think. What do you think KOC does good on offense? What irritates the fuck out of you?
Why do you have to get cute every fucking week? Why do we got to throw that one cute play into the playbook every fucking week? You don't need to be cute every week. You want to be cute maybe 4 times a year, not every fucking week.
Right.
Not mixing the run with the pass, the best comes to mind right away. When you got a 3rd and short, do what's right and run the fucking football. You don't need to pass 75 to 90% of the time on 3rd and short. It's just
here's the statistic. The statistical line on that. When the Vikings threw the ball on 3rd or 4th and short last year, they converted at about 22%. When they ran the ball, they converted at 72%.
On what? 3rd and 1?
Third or 4th and short, 2 or less.
Okay.
You have 50% higher average converting on running the ball than you did when they were throwing the ball.
Okay, Rhino, I will present the same question I just presented to Lance. What do you like about him? What do you don't like about just play calling? Not locker room, KOC giving out 14 fucking game balls. I'm talking about play calling. What do you like? What do you don't like?
Well, there are times when he, like Lance mentioned earlier, he can call a good game if he has to. But he gets to the point, and this is what pisses me off more about it than anything else. He gets to the point where a lot of times he outsmarts himself. He comes out there, he's going to I'm going to draw up this fancy ass play that's going to do this, and everything else, and then it gets batted down the line and returned for a pick six.
Right.
The thing that Kevin O'Connell has got to realize, and I know the guy's got an ego. He's got a huge ego. But the thing of it is, and what he's got to realize is if the team is winning games, you're going to get the credit for it. Nobody gives a shit if you go out and call this exotic fucking offense that nobody's ever seen before, or if you run the ball 45 times, score 17 points and win 17-10.
It's about calling the right fucking play at the right fucking time. Yep. You don't need the kill shot every fucking time. It's about calling the right play when needed.
Yeah. A quick slant, a hitch across the middle. Some of these quick timing plays, when he throws the ball, it's all got to be this long developing stuff. And that's why half the sacks happen, is because you got to sit there and wait for 3 to 4 seconds for your wide receivers to break open down the field.
If he can put his ego aside in the play calling aspect and do what's best for the personnel and team, he could go a long way in this league.
Okay. But he needs to take a long look at what his mentor, McVay, did. They ran 13 personnel more than any other team in the league this year. And McVay, Kevin O'Connell learned from McVay. That was, McVay used to have a serious aversion to the run game too. And he changed this year. Now, O'Connell needs to be able to learn to do the same thing. Put his ego aside and do what's best to win a game.
Game plan for each team individually. Don't go into the game with the same game plan for every fucking team every week in and week out.
Let me just say, for people out there who don't tune into this show, you need to tune in because this is fucking awesome. This is info right here that you don't get from a lot of Viking shows. And
all right.
You guys are awesome. It's really, really, it's great to talk football when I hear information. It's just like, yeah.
So, let me roll the question back on you, Drew. Now you tell us, what do you think he can win a Super Bowl? What do you like about him, and what drives you absolutely nuts?
I think he can win a Super Bowl with Brian Flores.
Fair.
I think Flores.
Well, yes. So your answer is yes.
I think that's a big part of him winning the Super Bowl. I think a lot of problems I have with KOC is aggressiveness.
Mm-hmm.
I think doesn't have the kill shot mentality.
Yeah. A lot of times when he's up like a couple scores, I think that, and this reverts back to I don't know if this connects, but I watched my Sharks play last night, and they had a 3-0 lead, and they played not to lose the game, and they lost. I think a lot of time the Vikings do that, and I think KOC needs to better his consistency with creative plays. I think he sits back and like, for some reason he doesn't attack when he needs to attack all the time. And I think he could be better. He could better off himself by being more of an attack kind of.
Keep the defense on their heels.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I you know what, Lance? I think he falls back when he has a little bit of a lead, to sit back and wait. I think I would like to see more of an aggressive play caller from KOC. But I
don't think we've seen an aggressive play caller here since Denny Green, to be honest with you.
I think he can win a Super Bowl, Rhino, but there's a lot of attachments to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot because he's a kumbaya guy. He is.
Well, I'll tell you guys right now. If we start out the season like we did last year, this upcoming season, Brian Flores is going to be your head coach sooner than later. So
yeah.
It without.
Can you win a Super Bowl with Brian Flores as a head coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a quick yes out of both of you guys.
Yes, because he doesn't have that. KOC, Lance, KOC said after a press conference, I don't need to run up the score to prove I'm a better coach. That's what he said.
I want him to run it up.
That's ridiculous.
Right. You need to go out there and you need to take the will to compete away from the other team.
Brian
Make,
That's
Flores.
what I want to see.
make them.
Brian Flores doesn't give a fuck less about what any other coach thinks about him.
No.
And that's the
O'Connell
guy.
wants to be everybody's buddy.
Right.
And he doesn't want to make some coach feel bad because he beat him 55-10. He'd rather beat him 13-10.
I always say the biggest game that bothers KOC was probably that 48-10 victory over the Bengals. That probably still bothers him. Oh, what are people going to think of me? Oh,
Yeah, Zach Taylor's my buddy, and I just kicked the shit out of him. I feel terrible.
Run everybody out of the stadium. Run them all out, Lance.
Yeah.
Run them all out.
Light that scoreboard up. Yep.
Who cares what people think about you?
No, Kevin needs to go for some little tough love training, I think, sometimes. But
I'm glad Flores is back, though. What do you guys
absolutely.
think about that? You guys like Flores being back?
Oh yeah,
100%.
Yep. Like I said, if we start out this season like we did last season, it's going to be Flores' head coaching job sooner than later. So,
right.
With that being said, Rhino, what do you think?
We've rolled it about an hour and 10, pushing an hour and 15 here. So, any last words, Drew, before we call her a night?
Thanks for having me on, guys. It's really been
well,
fun.
Yeah, we appreciate you jumping on with us.
Yeah, we're Vikings fans. We're ready for this kind of stuff, but we will be back ready for the off season and great show. Thanks for having me.
All right. So with that, I want to thank all you guys for joining us in the chat on the impromptu emergency show tonight. We will be off again next week, but week after the Super Bowl, we plan on coming back full time, and we'll start doing our free agency breakdowns and draft breakdowns and all that fun stuff starting in a couple of weeks. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I got to get up at 5:30 and take my wife to work in the morning, North. So I do have to go get some sleep. But yeah, thank you guys. Great comments in the chat as always. That's why we do these live shows, because we love the interaction. We love hearing from you guys because you always bring the great comments, the great discussion points, the humor and the fun along with it. Again, big thank you to Drew for joining us tonight. Been a while since we've done a show together. We got to do this more often. Always great having you on here. Your football knowledge is second to none, and
thanks, man. Thanks.
we appreciate everything you've done for us over the years too, with the podcast and everything else. But with that, Brunswick, why don't you take us home?
Yeah, it was nice seeing you guys all tonight. It was a great group tonight. Thanks, Drew, for coming on. Appreciate you so much. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Aubrey and Millie, if you're out there watching, Dad loves and misses you. Skull.
Oh, yeah.
Have a good weekend, everybody.